Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Today, who is reading today? Let me see.
I'm reading.
Shantimati?
Yes,
Oh, sorry, let me see. My speaker is not set. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Guru Maharaj Sri Prabhupada. Prasanthi, whenever you're ready, you can start, Mataji.
okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Prabhupada and Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtakim. Today we are reading Canto 4, Chapter 13 of Srimad Bhagavatam, description of the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj, text 38 to 49. Text 38. Although the queen had no son, after eating that food, which had the power to produce a male child, she became pregnant by her husband, and in due course of time, she gave birth to a son. Text 39. That boy was born partially in the dynasty of irreligion. His grandfather was death personified, and when the boy grew up as his follower, he became a greatly irreligious person. Text 40. After fixing his bow and arrow, the cruel boy used to go to the forest and unnecessarily kill innocent deer, and as soon as he came, all the people would cry, he comes cruel Veena, he comes cruel Veena. Text 41. The boy was so cruel that while playing with young boys of his age, he would kill them very mercilessly, as if they were animals meant for slaughter. Text 42. After seeing the cruel and merciless behavior of his son, Veena King Anga punished him in different ways to reform him, but was unable to bring him to the path of gentleness. He thus became greatly aggrieved. Text 43. The king thought to himself, persons who have no son are certainly fortunate. They must have worshipped the Lord in their previous lives so that they would not have to suffer the unbearable unhappiness caused by a bad son. Text 44. A sinful son causes a person's reputation to vanish. His irreligious activities at home cause irreligion and quarrel among everyone, and this creates only endless anxiety. Text 45. Who, if he is considered an intelligent, would desire such a worthless son? Such a son is nothing but a bond of illusion for the living entity, and he makes one's home miserable. Text 46. Then the king thought, a bad son is better than a good son, because a good son creates an attachment for home, whereas a bad son does not. A bad son creates a hellish home from which an intelligent man naturally becomes very easily detached. Text 47. Thinking like that, King Anga could not sleep at night. He became completely indifferent to household life. Once, therefore, in the dead of night, he got up from the bed and left Veena's mother, his wife, who was sleeping deeply. He gave up all attraction for his greatly opulent kingdom, and unseen by anyone, he very silently gave up his home and opulence and proceeded towards the forest. Text 49. When it was understood that the king had indifferently left home, all citizens, priests, ministers, friends, and people in general were greatly aggrieved. They began to search for him all over the world, just as a less experienced mystic searches out the super soul within himself. Text 49. When the citizens could not find any trace of the king after searching for him everywhere, they were very disappointed, and they returned to the city, where all the great sages of the country assembled because of the king's absence. With tears in their eyes, the citizens offered respectful obeisances and informed the sages in full detail that they were unable to find the king anywhere. Thus ends the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 13.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prajantamati. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
When are you ready, you can start, Prabhuji. Harinam Kirtan, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
All the assembled devotees and Vaishnavas. Om Agyan Timidandasya Jnananjana Shalaka Chakshuru Miditana Tasmai Shri Guru Nama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are reading an interesting section from the fourth canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, text 38 onwards. The storyline is going on from the descendants of Dhruv Maharaj. So after a lot of lineage from Dhruv Maharaj, so we have read about or heard about the king Anga, and he was very much distressed because he was not having a son. And then he worshipped the Lord to fulfill his benediction to get a son. And in the last verse from yesterday, he obtained the oblations was offered in the fire, and a person appeared from the fire with the golden garden, and he was carrying a golden pot, and the golden pot was filled with the sweet rice, the rice boiled in a milk. And then king mercifully gave those rice pot to her wife called Sunita. So Srila Prabhupada raised in that verse, although she was not so fit to accept this benediction, but king wanted to have, to fulfill his desire to get a son. And although she was not qualified, we will see how, but he was liberal to give that sweet rice to her, which he has received from the Yagna Purusha. And that's how, they have a son. So after, because they don't have son, after eating that food, the mother becomes, energized to produce a male child. So they both received a son very soon. So this is very similar. We can also see generally in this world, we see what we see all around us. I think there are 4 ways of birth. One is through the earth, like the plants. Another way is through the embryos. We take birth through embryos. Then other way is to take birth through eggs. And another way is to take birth through the sweat. So these are the prominent 4 ways, that's how the birth happens. So, of any creature event we see here. But what we see here is, something special, offering a sweet rice, and so that a mother becomes fertile. And something similar we also see in Ramayana also. Maharaj Dashrath offered a sacrifice, fire sacrifice, and something very similar. A fire Yagna Purusha came up and gave the sweet rice, and eventually all the mothers became pregnant. So, so these are the special favors of the Lord. If somebody want to fulfill, having this, they can achieve the son. Text 39 onwards. So now, even though the child, they received the child, they were happy, but everything in this world is temporary. It's very temporary. Today, in the situation of King Anga, he got, he was very happy because he got a child. His long cherished desire was fulfilled. But something else is hidden in the future. So the boy was not so much dharmic. The king Anga was very dharmic, very saintly person, but his this boy was not so much, because it is described that her mother's side, her grandfather was a death personified. So, and the boy grew up as his follower. So he became a greatly irreligious person. That is why it is told that her mother, although she was not fit, but King Anga was, very favorable or merciful, and he wanted a son as well. So his desire also. So, but because of the demonic tendency of Sunita, his wife, the his son became more towards the quality he acquired through the maternal side, maternal grandfather sides. So Srila Prabhupada write a very, very nice thing in the purport, that a daughter receives the qualifications of her father and the son acquires qualification of a mother. And this we know very well. So according to Smriti Shastra, a child generally follows the principles of his maternal uncle's house. Naranam Matula Karma, that a child generally follows the quality of his maternal family. If the maternal family is very corrupt or sinful, the child, even though born of a good father, becomes a victim of the maternal family. So very interesting dynamics here. So maternal family is very, very crucial, although they don't live, but we can see how the culture is being imparted. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada tells that whenever marriage takes place, before the marriage takes place, an account has to be taken from the boy and the girl family both together. And if all the astrological calculation is correct, then only we should perform the marriages. But if there is a mistake, even doing that particular Vivah Sansakar, then the family life becomes frustrating. So that is the main thing about the marriage part. Now, there is something higher than this, something very higher than this. One can perform all the material calculation, astronomical calculation, make sure everything is going right, try our best to protect or to do everything possible. But Lord has another set of plan with his own devotees. Another set of dynamics is going on. So even though a good wife or a bad wife, so Lord has a different arrangement for King Anga. So Lord particularly arranged, a kind of a bad wife in his life, so that his own devotee, get purified, and his own devotee can come to him as soon as possible. It was an intervention from the Lord himself, that he got a bad wife and he got a bad son in the form of King Vena. His name was Vena. So we'll talk more about this aspect. So now, because the King Vena, his qualities are explained in the coming up verses, that the King Vena was so cruel that he used to go to forest and kill innocent deer, and as soon as everybody see that person, they used to tell, "Here comes cruel Vena, here comes cruel Vena." So although Kshatriyas are allowed to hunt for the purpose of learning killing, they should not be, the motive should be they need to kill the animal to see the blood, so that whenever the fight happens, they can fight nicely, they can fight vigorously. It should not be, anything else. But there should not be purpose of, killing and eating their flesh. So that should not be the purpose. And okay. After that, when all the citizens, they were terrified, they were not happy how cruel Venom was performing his activity. And What to talk of animals? He used to kill the young boys of his age. So he used to play and he used to kill even them mercilessly. Mercilessly. I'm like, I was thinking, oh my goodness, what kind of disasters it would be. Imagine in today's life, some 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 boy, he's playing with the other boys and it's killed. Something like we see in America, right? Sometimes we hear in news in a school there is a firing, right? Some boy bought a gun and killed students, killed cheater teachers, and so and so. So I was like, oh my goodness, even something similar happened long time back also. Same age child and they kill them mercilessly. Oh my goodness. And whenever his father now, he see this kind of behavior, merciless cruelty is coming out from his son, he did his part. He performed, all the ways to correct him, to punish him, uh, and to bring him to the path of gentleness, to the side of the religion side, dharmic side. So being a father, he was trying his best, to make his son come on the good path, and he was worried, because of the behavior of his son. Now this is the material world. This is the nature of material world. So some times ago, he was very happy because he got a son, long cherished desire. But now the same son is causing so much problem. So this is the nature of this material world. Nobody will be free from the three miseries: Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. There will be something always, miseries, suffering because of our own mind, our own, thought process, our own limitations, challenges. There will be always problem because of the other living entities. Some people will hurt us, some people will say something, some people will do something which we do not like, which even our own family that will happen. And then misery caused by the natural disasters like COVID, tsunami, earthquake, which is not in our control, our government, anything can happen. So everybody is subjected to these threefold miseries in some way or other. Even a person become a president, prime minister, or a rich person, or a pauper, or a whoever is this person, everybody is forced and subjected to these threefold miseries in some way or other. So uh, now his whole happiness now turned into distress because of the cruel behavior of his son. Now the king is telling that who have no son are certainly fortunate. Now having a child is a glorious thing. Everybody have that desire in their heart, but now he has a bad son. He is trying to reform, make things appropriate, but now he himself is telling that having no son is better than having a son. They are certainly fortunate. And on top of that, he's telling they must have worshipped the Lord in their previous life, say that they would not have to suffer the unbearable unhappiness caused by a bad son. So those people who don't have a son, or they must have performed a lot of worship to the Lord in their previous life, so they don't have to go through a unbearable unhappiness because of a bad son. Because a bad son, uh, he will vanish, he will tarnish all the reputation. His irreligious activity at home will cause irreligion and quarrel among everyone. And this creates endless anxiety. That's what translation is. Srila Prabhupada writes a nice thing here that a married couple must have a son, otherwise, their family life is void. But a son born without bad qualities is as good as a blind eye. A blind eye has no use for seeing, but it is simply unbearably painful. So now king is repenting because he has a bad son. We can also see in our shastras, other literatures like Dhritarashtra, he also has a bad son, Duryodhana. In fact, Viduraji has advised, I think whatever I heard about this, that he advised Dhritarashtra to, whenever the Duryodhana was born, that you can destroy your child, you can kill this child because so many bad omens are happening. He's howling and crying when he was born. He was howling basically. So such a bad symptoms were happening, and this boy will bring all the irreligion in your dynasty. Because of this, everybody will be killed. So much adharmic this child is. So better to kill him right now instead of making him grow. But because of the attachment of Dhritarashtra, because they were not having son, he wanted a son, and then Gandhari, she was pushing her. So much has happened, because of that one desire to get a son, to beget a son, so much so and happen, and whole dynasty destroyed. So they did not listen and did not kill, and whole Mahabharata take place. So that kind of son is nothing but a bond of illusion for the living entity. He makes one home miserable. So because of the qualities of a bad son, the family, the society, the nation, everything get, because he's a dharmic, everything is going bad, and all the impressions, everything goes bad. Now, his king is again repenting that a bad son is better than a good son. Now is the opposite trend. So earlier he was telling that we should not have a son because it's better than having a bad son. We should not have a son. Now that the dynamics has changed, his consciousness is different now. So please hear this nicely. Now he's telling a bad son is better than a good son. Who in this world can tell this? That a bad son is better than a good son? Now he rises above the level of the dualities. He rises something very high level. Now he tells a good son, if I get a good son, what will happen with the good son? He will create an attachment for the home. Oh, my son, he's doing this, he's doing that. And when we have a bad son, he will not create any attachment. A bad son creates a hellish home from which an intelligent man naturally becomes very easily detached. Now, this is the interesting dynamics and the consciousness of a devotee. So he tried his best to rectify his own son, but somehow or other that Vena couldn't, reform. So the king has to change his own internal consciousness, his own dynamics. That okay, what I have, I have. Now it is a plan of the Lord, and this is a plan for me, to easily get detached from the family life, because it is very, very difficult. These family bonds, they are very, very strong. They are always binding us in this world because of our own body. We always think I am, father of someone, I'm mother of someone, I'm this and I'm that. All our identification, aham, mameti, I and mine, is so powerful, so powerful. It always keeps us in this bond of family, and we think everything is for the family only. So now, because of a bad son, he can rise the level above, and he can think, okay, everything is temporary, and he can leave all these attachment very nicely, very, very comfortably, because he has so much suffering within the home going on. So he's thinking, oh, leave everything, just go. Now, Srila Prabhupada tells that Prahlad Maharaj also has a home, and it was compared to a blind well in the coop. And if blind well, if a man goes to the blind well, it is very, very difficult to get out of it. So that is a material home on the coop. Therefore, Shri Prahlad Maharaj advises that one give up this blind well of home life as soon as possible and go to forest and take shelter of the Supreme Lord. So giving up, the family attachment, the home, and performing, dedicating our whole life to the Supreme Lord. This is generally once we complete our grahastha duties at the age of 50, 55, we should have a plan, okay, I want to dedicate my entire time for Krishna consciousness, for spreading Krishna consciousness, for preaching Krishna consciousness, and absorbing myself completely in the devotional service. So we should all, have some thoughts, some plans, say strong desire. Strong desire is very much needed here. Although we may not plan for next 20 years, 30 years, it is always challenging. So we should be always under a direction of a superior mentor, and always look forward, or anxious when the day will come when I will be completely engaged 24 hours in the service of the Lord, in the service of my Guru and the devotees and the Vaishnavas. So in this case, Srila Prabhupada again, right, that people are so much attached to their homes, they don't want to give up even at the point of death. And we have heard many times the story of the Kailash. Narad Muni came again and again to remind him, come to Vaikuntha, come to Vaikuntha. And he was always postponing, no, I have this, I have studies to do, I have job to complete, I have small kids, the kids grow up. Oh my God, I have to take care of them. No, even though the kids have grown up, they got a grandchildren also. Now he's telling now to look after my home, my childs are not taking place. So this family attachment is very, very difficult to come out. So in this particular case, Lord Krishna has a dynamic so that King Gavena can give up his home, can give up those attachments, and can successfully come out from those material life. So in this way, a bad son and his behavior helped King Anga to go away from his home. So it is a boon in this way. So again, very important considerations. Like it is depends on our own consciousness, our own svabhava, our own understanding. So it's not very easy to come out from this. So it requires a lot of thought process, lot of taking everything as a plan of the Lord, whether it is a good, whether it is a bad, accepting as the plan of the Lord and connecting everything to Krishna consciousness. That how Krishna has personally put up this situation in my life, and how can I think about Krishna? How can I go closer to Krishna, even in that situation? Prahlad Maharaj did that, right? He was thrown from hills. He was under the elephant, and so many problems he has gone through. Dhruv Maharaj gone through so much problems at the age of 5. So one can always complain, oh, I have this, I have that. My dad is not good. My this is not good. This is not happening. That is not happening. Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj can complain n number of complaints. They have so much problems and suffering at a very, very young age. So the point is, these challenges, miseries will come. There's no doubt about it. But how we connect those situations, those moments in everyone's life to Krishna and rise above the level, taking as a plan of the Lord, and accepting it because of either our bad karmas in the past, or as a personal reciprocation, from the Lord wanted me to do something more in this situation. Okay, let me do that. Maybe Lord wanted, and this requires some more practical guidance with devotees, so that individuals many times get succumbed to those situations and thoughts. Therefore, a devotees or Vaishnavas can always help us out, to come out of that situation. Now, King Anga, he couldn't sleep at the night because his house was a mess. And in the night, he left his wife, who was sleeping deeply, and he could give up his kingdom, his home, and everything, and went towards the forest. So Srila Prabhupada writes, it was not a very easy task for the king to give up the opulent kingdom and a young faithful wife. It's never an easy task to give up all this strong attachment. But it was a great blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that he could give up that attachment and go to the forest. So when he left the king, so all the citizens and everyone saw, and they were greatly aggrieved. Okay, where did you go? Where did you go? And when the citizen could not find him, they were very disappointed and they returned to the city. So this ends the fourth canto, 13th chapter. I also remember the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada's life. Srila Prabhupada also was in a similar kind of situation. He was not also having in this case, he was having a not so much favorable wife. And because she was not so much favorable, Srila Prabhupada could give up, choose tea or me. She chose tea. Okay, I'll go. So even though it's a big calamity materially, but in spiritually it's a blessing, it's a boon. Srila Prabhupada could give up his family life and take sannyas eventually and come to America and do so much here. What we are witnessing here. So Srila Prabhupada took it as a plan of the Lord. And there is a nice shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1088.8. It's very powerful. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So Lord is telling, Yasyaham anugrammani harisya tad dhanam snana tato dhanam tejantyasya swajan dukkha dukkhitam. So if a Lord becomes, merciful to someone or favors someone, Lord gradually deprives him of his own wealth, his own relatives, his own friends, So we can see this very much in the 11th canto, the Brahmana, Avanti Brahmana, that also, his whole wealth was taken away, his family ridiculed so much to him. So, and he stressed one distress after another distress. So, Srila Prabhupada writes very nice thing here. Devotional service is the process of worshipping the Supreme Lord. It consists of fixing the mind upon by becoming disinterested in all material designation, both in this life and in the next. So all the material designations, comes up later. The first designation is that we are the servant of the Lord. Das, 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 and das. So Hare Krishna, it's already 7:30. Last line, a mature devotee, Srila Prabhupada writes, a mature devotee recognizes the superficially good and bad condition he encounter as a sign of the direct guidance of his ever well-wishing Lord. So that is the sign of great devotee. He is mature. His intelligence is so sharp that he can see everything good and bad and sees as a plan of the Lord, a direct touch of the Lord in his own life. So the karmic people will blame the situation, will blame the miseries, or this they did, I got this because of this, or this happened, that happened. They will blame all that plan things. But a devotee will think in different way. He will say it's a plan of the Lord. Lord wanted me, so his consciousness is different, even though the challenges are same. That is the Krishna consciousness. Our movement is Krishna consciousness, so that our chitta, our consciousness become filled with Krishna in spite of all the challenges, all the difficulties, and we can rise above our bodily platform and love Krishna, serve Krishna wholeheartedly. Hare Krishna. Please forgive me if there is any mistake. And thank you so much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Harinam Kirtan Prabhuji. Wonderful class, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.